Is it possible that the missing element in your fitness journey is having a rock solid morning routine where you tip that lead domino in the right direction so that your day gets off to a great start? Maybe that is the missing piece in your fitness journey today. Dallas and we're going to trade notes, compare notes on our morning rituals and what we have been doing that helps us level up our health and fitness game. So stick around.
Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where we hear and learn from our coaches, CrossFitters, and Glen Ed community leaders. Now, here are your hosts, Dallas and Greg.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where, just like it said, we sometimes get to talk with our CFE coaches, sometimes we talk with our CFE athletes, and occasionally chat it up with our Glen Ed community leaders and business leaders in this area. Great to have you all here. Thank you for spending the time with us. I am your co-host, Dallas Amston, your Communicate to Succeed coach, and with me, as always, the fearless, the powerful, the incomparable. How many comparison words can I give you? This feels like G-Scale. This feels like when Apollo Creed gets all of his names given in one of the Rockies. The Master of Disaster, the King of Sting, the one, the only. Coach G-Scale, how you doing, brother?
I'm okay, and I apologize in advance for those adjectives. An impossible act to follow, impossible shoes to fill. I apologize in advance.
G-Scale.
But I am looking forward to this conversation because today Dallas and I get to go full nerd out about how we set the stage for success in terms of like our mindset, our health, our relationships, everything. Both of us are powerfully driven in terms of, living our best life and getting our minds right. And we found morning routines are a really big part of that. Would you agree, Dallas?
I would totally agree. And I do want to give a disclaimer right up front here for everybody listening and or watching. Both G-Scale and I are Enneagram 3s. And if you know anything about the Enneagram 3 is the achiever type. So we're very competitive minded. We want our list. We want our to-dos. We want to feel as though we achieve things quickly and concisely. And I would say the word might be definitely. Like we want to make sure that we have a checklist. So what you are getting today, if you are an Enneagram 5 or a 7 or a 1 and things have to be perfect or analytical as a 5, whatever it is for you, just be aware that what we're talking about today, anyone who is successful in the world of business has some form of ritual that they follow. Steve Jobs very much talked about the fact that you don't want to have decision fatigue. So automate what you can and prepare yourself for that. Elon Musk says things like, hey, if you decide you're going to take 30 days to clean your house, it will take you 30 days. If you decide you're going to give yourself 3 hours, it'll take you 3 hours. So what we're going to be chatting about here today might feel very much like it might burr in your saddle or, cause your skin to bristle a little bit. But we're just telling you what works for us. We're sharing with you because, as G said, it might be the one key that's missing to a successful day for you. You might be ready to level up just enough. This morning formula might help you tweak quite a bit. Right.
So this asterisk that this framework, this conversation might resonate with you at the highest level if you are super type A. But hopefully, though, everyone will get at least you get the thought process. They get the wheels turning, maybe get a fresh idea for something you can do to make your day go a little bit better. At CFE for the longest time, our mission was to give you the best hour of your day. Hopefully this helps toward that end. So I'm interested to learn from Dallas, mindset coach, Dallas, presentation coach, Dallas. I'll send it to you first, my dude. What's the first thing you want to share in terms of like your morning routine, things that help you win the day?
Well, I think both of us are going to agree on step one. A successful morning, a morning of achievement, a morning of fulfillment actually begins the night before.
Amen.
So for me, the night before always looks like, and sometimes I do this at the end of my workday, but I have found that it helps me most if I do it like right before bed. or sometime close to bed. I have my to-do list, which I should have had this ready, G. My productivity planner is on my second desk right over here, but it basically allows me to look through what are my targets for the week, review those, what needs to be done tomorrow specifically. So on Sundays, I usually break down my week as to what big projects do I need to move down the pipe, who am I reaching out to, who am I following up with, etc. And I'm a pencil and paper kind of guy. I don't like to keep that stuff in my phone because certain time of night my phone goes off and it's over.
Amen. Right.
But for me, to be able to go in and look through, okay, what revenue generating activities need to occur tomorrow? What to-dos need to occur tomorrow? Who do I need to follow up with, etc. And so to write those down and or just review them is actually one of the biggest things because it allows my mind to go into rest mode. I also start using blue light glasses at a certain time of evening. It allows the body's natural melatonin. When I started adding the blue light frames, I started going to sleep faster, and I started having more restful sleep. So I empty my brain of the to-dos. I have the blue lights on about 90 minutes before I go to bed, and both of those really help me kind of unload my brain for the night. What about you? Because I know you do a like the night before ritual as well. Before we get into the morning stuff, what do you do the night before?
Well, just to reflect, I want to say I like what you're bringing to the table here, your idea about setting intentions and goals for the next day. I believe there is something to the concept of you identify what are those top objectives, and then when you're sleeping at night, your brain is processing and thinking on the solutions, thinking on the actions that probably go with that. And so it helps your mind to awake ready for that also.
Yeah.
So let's piggyback off of that. I love to do as much as possible the night before to reduce decision fatigue the morning of. I don't want to be making unnecessary decisions during the morning. So I lay out all my clothes for Tuesday on Monday night or Sunday on Saturday night so that when I wake up, I already have all that pre-staged and laid out so that I can just get up and get after it. When it's time to get dressed, I don't have to think at all. And I actually have used that as a meditation time in the past. That's like doing the stuff the night before to make the day of easier so you can just get up and execute on the game plan. That's huge. I love that one.
Yeah, for sure. And I know you review your to-dos as well. You go, is tomorrow a sales heavy day? Is tomorrow an admin heavy day, etc. Right. So yeah, for sure.
Content creation day.
Right, exactly. When you have to go to the deep workplace, you want to be prepared for that. I love too what you said there, G, about you kind of put it into your brain because our brains are machines. They're problem-solving machines. So if you say, I'm going to have this ready tomorrow and this ready tomorrow, it's almost like your brain, your subconscious goes to work for you while you sleep and starts to give you some of those either answers and or strategies as to what you need to do the next day for success in that. So I love that. Well, then I know we both wake up early. We are early to bed, early to rise.
Dedicated morning people.
Yeah, right. So when I first started going to CFE, I was one of the 5 a.m. club. What I have learned is that the 5 a.m. club for me is I get more work done in the first few hours of my day when my mind is like, and I'll use the word supple because it's it's mossy with ideas in those morning hours. So I find that getting up and having a morning routine of input and then creative output allows me later in the day to work, to do the body work, the physical work. But during those days of going to the 5 a.m. class, I just naturally started waking up around 4:30. It just became habit. That still happens now. I wake up naturally around 4:38 in the morning, like almost to a T every day. It's like, blink, 4:38, it's time to get up.
Wow.
So, but we have, I'm gonna give everybody a secret. I learned this one from Matt Fraser. I saw him in an interview talking about he has a sunrise clock. And so if he wants to wake up at 5 a.m., this sunrise clock starts about 15, 20 minutes before with a nice warm glow. And it just slowly starts getting brighter and brighter and brighter in your room until the alarm, quote unquote, goes off. And then like for me, I bought a sunrise clock. I love it. It goes off it starts rising 20 minutes before the 5 a.m. And then right at 5 a.m., birds start chirping. Nice little gentle chirping. But it's almost
Right.
like my body slowly starts to like go into that pattern. And even if I lay there for a few extra minutes, it's like the room is getting softly brighter. So that by the time
Sure.
5 a.m. hits, oh, it's sunrise, even during the dead of winter when it's still pitch black outside. So I love the sunrise clock to help kind of bring me into the morning. And then I have instituted, usually it's right around 10 minutes. I don't have it exactly timed. It goes between 8 to 12 minutes typically. But I do deep breathing and some qigong stretching to start moving my body, getting my energy moving, stretching out my hamstrings. I do some hip mobility stuff. And for me, getting my body mildly activated before I go into that stuff. And the deep breathing really helps put me in this place of learning first thing. So I learned from a guy named Lee Holden Qigong. You can look up some of his morning routine rituals on YouTube. Holden, Holden, Qigong, Qigong, if you don't know. But Lee Holden is one of those guys that when I found him, I was like, oh yeah, this is a good solid 10 minutes of breathing and moving just to get everything energized, to get the chi going. So that's the first steps of my morning formula.
Yeah.
Which are physical. And I know, G, that you have a very physical way of waking up too.
Sure.
So why don't you talk us through the physical, and then we'll both jump into the mental after that.
Yeah, I'm going to tie a couple things together here. Like the one is by pre-staging out the clothes the night before. I'm a morning fitnesser, and it helps me to have the clothes set out.
Yep.
I set up my exercise clothes, so when I get dressed, I'm basically preparing for a gym activity. That's first. That makes it a little easier to get to the gym consistently. The other thing is that I definitely noticed that, as you just mentioned, a lot of people that do morning routines really well or have a morning routine, some sort of physicality is really important in that. And your physicality is these breathing exercises and the qigong, the yoga, the mobility to loosen up the body.
Yep.
Mine is the cold shower.
And hydration. I forgot to mention. It starts with 16 ounces of water and or electrolytes in the first 5 minutes I'm awake.
Awesome. So part of my morning routine, the physical aspect for me, the cold shower is a big, big part of that.
You love your cold showers.
Cryotherapy. And I want to do a major shout out to whoever it was that turned me on to cryotherapy back in the day. Every time I mention this, people are like, are you following the Wim Hof method? I'm like, I don't even know what that is. I know who he is, but no, like I kind of developed mine on my own. And the more that I learned about Wim Hof, it seems like he and I have basically fallen into very similar things. But the punchline to all of this, that morning cold shower takes me from 0 to 100 real quick. Go from I'm awake to I'm wide awake, super alert. My whole body is just like electrified. And I feel like my muscles, my joints are somewhat restored. There's a lot of physical benefits to it. People who have tried cryotherapy of any sort they've noted there's the immune system boost. Your immune system is stronger and more resilient. You recover from rigorous physical activity and hard days faster because of it. And there's fantastic mental benefits for me as well. I think the sheer ritual of starting my day doing something that's pretty uncomfortable, I think kind of sets a stage where when I do it, I believe in myself more. Like, okay, I did this difficult thing. A lot of other things seem easy by comparison. Same is true with CrossFit. If you're a morning CrossFitter, you find that doing something difficult early in the day lets you kind of look at everything else as being easier by comparison. It's a fantastic mental reset for that reason.
And for me, the workouts have started to happen at like 2 p.m. because that's when I start to hit an energy lull. So for me, it's kind of like, no, let's recharge. Let's put a little gas in the tank for the rest of the afternoon. But you definitely, if you can accomplish hard early, it's helpful.
Right. It gives you a good energy shot to start the day. So that the cold shower was my second one. And then one of the things that I do after that is, as I'm preparing breakfast in the morning, as I'm cleaning the kitchen in the morning. I'll listen to YouTube videos that direct me toward whatever it is I'm trying to do that day. If I have a very family-oriented day that day, I'll listen to YouTube videos, from speakers that are talking about how to connect at a higher level, or Charisma on Command videos, something like that. If I have a very business-oriented day, or I have to direct the troops, I'll listen to management or leadership YouTube videos, and that helps me to get into that mind space.
Sure.
So I find that whatever I listen to in the morning, I feel the most drawn towards doing things along that vein or in that line of thought. And I'll always pick videos that center on whatever my top objective is that day. What am I trying to achieve? What are the most important objectives for the day? I'd heard somewhere, and I don't know if it's actual science or if it's just invented science, but like your brain is the most pliable or impressionable first thing in the morning. When you wake up, you're kind of like a clean slate, a blank template, and whatever you pour into the thinker has dramatically greater impact in that first hour of your day. Yeah, I heard this stat was something like you're 88% more impressionable first thing in the morning, and therefore, if you are listening to something that builds you up, motivates you, helps you think in a more healthy, productive way, then it more significantly impacts you as a person and what you'll do, what you won't do. It helps you to make good choices in general.
So there's actually there is not made up science. There's real science around that on the fact that you actually have baby neurons. I don't know all the terminology for it, but basically there is new learning capacity is much increased in the opening hours of the day. That's why there's a lot of science that says don't get on your phone immediately. Don't go immediately. Like if you wake up and you put yourself in the negativity bias of things like Facebook and the algorithms or the news feed is showing you all the crap that's happening all over the world, and you
or your emails or your text messages.
Right. The moment you put yourself in that mode, as soon as you wake up, you reach over and you pull out the phone and look at Facebook or your calendar or your emails, you immediately rob those baby neurons of the opportunity. And what you actually can do is reinforce what they call negativity bias in your brain. So there is a science behind it. There's also has to do with the science of basically how your spinal cord fluid kind of washes your brain, quote unquote, while you're in deep sleep state. So if you've got this like freshly cleaned brain and these baby neurons, and if you fill it with the same negative crap that gets you triggered or gets your limbic system engaged, you're setting yourself up for a frustrating day. So it is important. A good tip is leave the phone off for at least the first 90 minutes of your alert.
Well, toward this point, this is a very important one. This wasn't one of the things that I had in my notes to discuss on the podcast, but I have two phones. I have a phone that's live that, is all of the has the Gmail app and has the text message app. I have a second phone that basically the only function is alarm clock and YouTube. That's it. So toward this thought process that you don't want to drop yourself right into a minefield of reactivity right off the bat. And if you wake up and start scrolling through any social media, your email, your text messages, it's basically inviting the whole world to fuck up everything for you right off the bat.
Sure.
And you don't want that. You become reactive very, very quickly. So I do have a rule for myself. I don't check my email. I don't check my text. I don't check nothing. I very, very carefully curate what's going into my head right off the bat.
Yep.
Amen to that. Great point.
Yeah.
Great
point. One final thought on that is like I come into my office space because I have my office space at home, but I come into my office space and I turn on either alpha wave music. Like you can go on YouTube and put on alpha waves for productivity. Another person that I listen to is Dappy, funny name, Dappy T Keys. And he just does like 3 hours of just instrumental piano, some pads underneath it. And it's just like every now and again, you hear a little worship chorus in there, but it's just background music that allows me to stay in a state of receptivity in that. And that's when, after I do the physical stuff, this is when the mental starts coming in, the mental and emotional, I should say. So so immediately I've written in. This was a training I did a while ago, and since then it's been a big part of my morning routine. Is there is a future self bio that I have written. He calls it his morning formula, or morning mindset formula. But for me, it's all about targeting my future self. Who I remember Matthew McConaughey saying, somebody asked him, "Who's your hero?" And he said, "It's me 10 years from now." And then 10 years later, they asked him again, "Hey, are you now your hero?" And he goes, "Nope, it's me another 10 years from now." The point being, the future self I'm trying to target is always going to be the hero I'm looking up to. And that was one of those like, oh, aha moments. So I've got this future self bio that I actually read as though I were being introduced for something. It's like, Dallas is a this, he accomplishes that, he balances that. But I wrote it in a way that it's very emotive for me. So it's like, it gets me pumped about who I am becoming. And I read this future self bio, and then in my productivity planner, there's a space for me to write down my emotional targets. And I write down specific targets of, in my health, I feel like, and I'll just say it, I feel like an athlete, and I feel powerful. And recently I have added paleo lifestyle into that. And I just take a moment and I write athlete, powerful, paleo, and I just kind of like feel what that feels like in the future me, in the present self. And this is kind of a fire hose of training that I do with mindset teams over the course of 12 weeks. So if you're listening to this and you're like, God, this sounds like a lot, there's a progression to it. But I do it for my health. I do it for my wealth. I do it for my business, specifically the targets I'm trying to hit in business. And I do it for my relational self as well, like how me as a husband, me as a father. And then there's one key financial target I'm looking to hit. And I write that down, and the feeling that that'll bring when I hit that one target. And I sit there, after I've read my future self bio, and then I write down these targets by hand, and I feel each of them individually. And then I'm like powered up. I'm ready to go. It's like, yeah, this is future Dallas now. How does version 4.4 work on version 4.3? Like, I'm beta testing future software upgrades of my life. And then that's when I move into my learning. But that for me, is my emotional state engaged as I lean into my mental state.
And something you noted is that this might sound like a lot. I think that Dallas would agree that neither of us jumped into doing all of these things at one time. It was a gradual progression, gradually building this up. One of the key takeaways should be that if you don't have an intentional morning routine, maybe take one of these items and put it into place. If it resonates with you, if you're like, okay, I could see that being valuable for me, maybe it is having that future self, or you future cast, and you think, who am I trying to grow into? Who do I want to become? And you can proactively work towards that. The idea is not to do all of these things at once.
No, it's make one micro commitment and set it, and then get some momentum going on that one micro commitment until it's fully integrated. There's the idea of there is introduction into your lifestyle, and then there's the actual integration into it. So it's like, hey, I'm going to try this. Does this work at 5 a.m. for me, or is it better if I do this at 6? And you try it out. You test where it fits best, and then you integrate it into your lifestyle. So for me, like, I started doing the morning formula a little over a year and a half ago. And then I started adding the nighttime before ritual about 6 months ago, 8 months ago, somewhere in there. And then the sunrise clock, that was about 8 months ago. But then the morning stretching was only 4 months ago. So so these are things I've added along the way that when I find that it works, I add it in, and then I try not to break the chain. As the
don't break the chain.
Don't break the chain. And for me, the not pulling my phone out in the morning, that may be the one thing for you, everybody, that you need to do. Is I will not check email, calendar, or social for the first 60 minutes of my day. That may be the micro commitment you make, and it may take you 30, 60, 90 days to not, really feel that pull that people feel.
Right.
But yeah,
It might be really, really helpful. Maybe you can think of it in these terms. All right, I wake up in the morning. My morning is crazy. It's just chaos. It's wake up and it's 3, 2, 1, go, taking care of the kids and the spouse and all the things. It might just be a question of, okay, what 1 or 2 negative things that I do now am I going to subtract from my life? It might be spending the first 10 minutes of your day on social media or scrolling through the phone, the news feeds. Might be subtracting that to open the bandwidth to do something from the morning routine. Like maybe meditation, which is my number 4 item here.
Well, and let me say this too, real fast, G. So one of the things that kind of got me started on this, there's a book by a guy named Hal Elrod. For those of you watching on the video, you're seeing me actually hold up the book because I keep it right here on my bookshelf. But it's called The Miracle Morning, and it's the not so obvious secrets that'll transform your life before 8 a.m. That was one of those that really helped kind of me start tweaking what I'm doing to hone in. So go ahead and lean into what the next thing you were going to say. That was cheap plug for Hal Elrod's book.
So you referenced how you transition from the physical into something mental. I do also. For me, it's meditation. The practice of meditation is one of the things that Tim Ferriss has found is a commonality amongst many of the world's top performers. They have some sort of daily mindfulness practice, and mine has evolved, but having that mindfulness as a part of my morning really helps me to, like if you wanted to learn a new language, you would practice and you train it on a regular basis. If you want to learn to ski better, you'd practice it on a regular basis. If you want to learn to think better, not be so reactive, and be in a more positive mental space, a calm and peaceful mental space, you got to train for that also. And that's kind of how I view meditation. It's not me sitting, cross-legged with my hands like this, saying for long periods of time. Meditation, like yoga, like CrossFit, it can be a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But the practice of having some sort of daily mindfulness practice for me has helped me to be a calmer center of the storm, calmer eye of the storm when life gets crazy, which it will for all of us. And that is my number 4. I want to tie that to my number 5, which is spending time in prayer, in relationship with my Lord every single morning. This too helps me to focus on faith, not fear, helps me to reconnect. If the things that I'm worried about, I'm going to cast them to the Lord and trust He's going to take care of it. He is the good shepherd. I won't want for anything. He'll take care of everything. He has a plan, and everything is working out the way that He designed for it to. It's working out in my favor. I need to walk the path that He's put before me and trust all outcomes to Him. The daily reminder and that time in prayer where I speak to my Lord and my Savior and say, hey, here are the things that are on my mind. Here's what I'm concerned about. And here's what I'm thankful for. I'm really grateful that I have clean running water in my home. I'm grateful I have a loving wife, a healthy son, that I'm healthy and well today. I'm excited about living in this amazing free country where I have infinite possibilities, infinite opportunities to go out and do great things. I've got friends and family that I love. I don't worry that, I'm not going to have a next meal. I don't wake up in a place where there's the sound of gunfire or bombs going off. I take a lot of time to hang out in gratitude. And it's awfully hard to be in any kind of negative mind space if you're hanging out in gratitude. That's my last one.
I love it. Yeah, I would say there's so many elements of that we could dig into for so long. But so for me, one of the things with the meditative element, I just realized the pattern of my morning after the night before, there's a little bit of physical. And then I get into the emotional, which is the future self and imagining the feeling of that. But part of that is the meditative exercise of the emotions of feeling like future Dallas. So my meditative practice is more on that emotional level, but then I move into the spiritual level. So I've got the physical with the stretching and the waking and the breathing and the hydration. Then I've got the emotional future self bio and the emotional targets that I feel from. Then I move into the spiritual. And for me, like right now I do a little bit of study every day. Okay, I should probably give a pause here because some people are going to listen to this and they're going to be like, Dallas reads way too much. I want to be very clear. I'm about to list a group of books real fast, but I want to be very clear. I learned a long time ago, I do not read for quantity. So there are some people, like when somebody does the 75 hard and they've got to read, I think it's like 10 pages a day or something.
Right.
I read 10 pages, but I don't read it from one book. I read for quality, not quantity, meaning when I open up my Bible, and right now I'm studying the book of Romans, and I get into Proverbs as well every day. When I get into Romans, I might read 4 verses and the one phrase sticks out to me that I need to know that day, and I highlight it. I write something real quickly in my morning journal, and I move on. It might take me 2 to 3 minutes to read Romans.
Sure.
For some people, especially the folks who have ever done the Bible in 1 year challenge, and it's like, I'm reading a little bit from Chronicles and a little bit from Numbers, something in Psalms, something in the one of the Gospels and one of the epistles, and it's like, stop it. You don't have to read for quantity. You don't have to go, I have to get in my 10 pages or my chapter of each. Find the thing you need for the day. Get the insight you need that you can apply to your day is how it works for me. So I might be 3 verses into Proverbs, and I might be 20 verses into Proverbs before I find the thing that I'm like, that's what I'm going to chew on. Write it down, think on it for a minute, and then I move on. Now, the one place that I am, I started doing this 3 months ago, and it's become one of the things I don't break, is I have a copy of The Power of a Praying Husband and The Power of a Praying Father, or Power of a Praying Parent. And I spend the next few minutes, I read through the prayer of the day for my wife and my children. And I went through the books and like read them, but now I just focus on the prayers. And I use whatever I've been learning in Romans and Proverbs and what I pray for them that day. And I kind of like think about how that all sits. And then I kind of sit and listen for a little bit. What do I need to do as a father and as a husband today? So there's that spiritual element. And then I get into the final thing, which is the mental. So I go through the physical with the stretching. Then I go through the emotional with the future self. Then I go through the spiritual with whatever. And I am reading Henry Nouwen's In the Name of Jesus as well. And that's on contemplative prayer. And it's awesome. But then I move into the learning side of it, the mental side of it. I want to learn something about finance and business every day and leadership. And if I can read, and so I've got multiple books, including Think and Grow Rich, which I've read probably 4 times now. Think and Grow Rich. I also just recently started adding paleo mindset stuff so I can adopt the mindset of an athlete in every area of my life. So I'm doing physical reading, professional reading, financial reading, marketing stuff. But again, I'm reading for quality, not quantity. I don't say I'm going to read a chapter of each of these. I'm done with my whole morning routine in an hour.
That's amazing. That's a very productive hour, Dallas.
Well, but I feel supercharged. I feel unstoppable by the end of that hour. I get just supercharged because I've read a little bit about this and a little bit about that. I took a nugget here and a nugget there and a nugget there. And all I'm doing is taking this really fresh brain and feeding it with all of this stuff that I then chew on the rest of the day. And then when I review my week at the end of the week, I go through and I reread all that stuff too. What did I learn this week? What kind of stuck out to me? What resonated? What revelated? Resonated and revelated. It's not a word, but let's make it one. So I do all that before my wife and I wake up our kids. And then we have a family ritual together during the Monday through Friday school week, where we sit as a family, and usually we teach on a little something from the Bible and or just pray. And then we have a family creed that we say together every day as well. And that's kind of, it makes sure that we are AMSTINs for that. Yeah. And that there's a creed that we believe in and that we say together. And the boys are charged up to go to school knowing that they're AMSTINs, that they're kings, that there's certain behaviors that they follow because of who they are and whose they are. So that kind of completes the morning ritual, and then I just get ready for my meetings and or my work that day.
I mean, I think that a morning ritual done well should leave you feeling like that. It should leave you feeling charged up and energized for whatever your mission is for that day. You should feel energized and fired up for it, like, because you've taken some time to get your heart right, your mind right, your body right, your spirit right, and then you can go into the day with purpose and intention, and not live your life in constant reaction to everybody else's crises.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, and we often talk about look better, feel better, perform better here on the CFE podcast. And one of the elements of that, I mean, we talk often that our CFE community, they are life athletes.
Yep.
Well, athletes begin by a warm-up. Nobody gets in and starts running the marathon. They warm up, they stretch a little bit, they get physically, mentally prepared to get in the pocket for their day. And I think we have to have the same thing in our days. I think some of us who, again, we've used this reference to the cell phone or the mobile device. The moment we get up and immediately go to social news, emails, calendar, the moment we do that, we have subjected ourselves to sprinting without a warm-up.
And we become vulnerable because now we're at the mercy of whatever nonsense has come down the chute that day.
Yep.
And how are you going to feel about that?
You're vulnerable to less. You lower your resilience, your emotional, physical, and mental resilience when you go into your quote day/workout without a warm-up. So the resilience is lower, the opportunity for stress, the opportunity for injury, quote unquote, mental or emotional injury is higher because you've not properly worked out. You haven't rehearsed your form, right? In the same way that we apply all the stuff to CrossFit. Hey, we're going to do a movement we haven't done for a while. Let's make sure our form's excellent and that we're moving with excellence throughout our day. The same thing applies mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Is if you can get up and have your warm up and you just go, oh, this works. I'm going to keep it. Now I'm going to introduce it and then I'm going to implement it. Then I'm going to integrate it. If you can do that and build a morning ritual over time, man, you're going to feel unfreaking stoppable.
Right. And every day you can achieve that. You can feel that every single day. And it's awesome.
We really didn't think we'd do 40 minutes on this topic, but we kind of both knew we'd do 40 minutes.
I know us, man. That's just how it's going to play out. Because there's a lot of meat on the bone here, a lot of things you could talk about. We can always go deeper on a lot of these things, but I think as like an introductory course to some ideas that can help your day go better, I think this was a great conversation. And I thank you for it, Dallas.
Yeah, I will say I'm going to do a quick cheap plug here, everybody. I work with another coach, and we actually have one of the biggest things around your success in life is around your paradigm, your belief system that functions as your operational system. So I work with another coach, and he and I run a small group mastermind called the Paradigm Mastermind. And basically we take a quarter and we work on a weekly basis, try and keep it 8 to 10 people to shift their thinking and to shift their operating systems around the physical, the mental, the emotional, the professional beliefs that are holding them back. So if you're interested in that, everybody, if you want to find out more about how to shift your paradigm and how to actually scale your life for greater success, I have personally seen it go crazy in my life in the last 12 months. The amount of acceleration I'm now getting, my fellow coach is seeing it as well. If you're interested in that, reach out to me on the social medias at Dallas Amston. You can also email me, dallas@communicatetosucceed.com. I would be happy to share that information with you and see if that mastermind group might be right for you for a quarter. So again, not a quarter, not 1/4 of a dollar, but for one quarter of the year. So again,
a 3-month block of time.
Yeah, dallas@communicatetosucceed.com or at Dallas Amston online. And I would love to figure out a way to help you shift your paradigm towards greater success.
Awesome, man. Dallas, thank you for helping me shift my paradigm toward greater success.
Dude, G-Skell, I love you, man. You're awesome.
Hey, man, this every time I get to hang out with you, it makes me a better person. I thank you for it.
It's going to become a love fest here if we don't end this. Everybody, if you want to reach out
Quick,
to us,
end it. Like,
quick, end it
just-
now. Quick, end it now. Everybody, if you want to get in touch with us about how to look better, feel better, or perform better in your life as a life athlete, with your family, in your business, we would love to help you out. Check us out at CrossFit Edwardsville on all the socials at CrossFit Edwardsville. When you are ready, go to CrossFitEdwardsville.com, and there is a little button there that's pretty big, and it says book a no sweat conversation. We would love to talk to you about leveling up your life in every way possible. So go ahead and do that. G-Scale, thank you so much, my friend. Good hanging with you, and I'll let you sing us out.
Much love to you, Dallas. Much love to our audience. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Looking forward to seeing you guys in the next episode. Till then.